now we've gotten our sign off, we are going to just pin it down. So I'm just gonna get a handful of pins. If you have a pin cushion, that's awesome. When you pin it, you wanna pin the edges down that are like the outer edges. Anything that's protruding out needs to be pinned down. And make sure that your pins are not extending over the edges. Okay. So you pin those down, and then if, like on these longer edges, you could take and put another pin in the middle if it needs it, depending on the size and how straight you can cut. But especially anything that's extending out. So if it's a curved edge that's extending out, make sure it's really well pinned, because it's easy for the scissors to slip underneath those edges. So you want to make sure they're pinned down pretty good. Okay, so I'm just sticking pins in now. Notice when you put the pin in, you put it down and then back up. That's gonna hold it so it's really secure. If you just stick it down, when I go to lift it up, it's gonna come up. So I have this little trick that I use. The tip of the scissors are going to kind of stabilize on the table. So as you're going, you're gonna have the tip of the scissors kind of stabilized on the table. That's how you're gonna keep it steady so you can get really straight cuts. Now, even though the edge of this pattern isn't perfectly straight, if you're using a pattern that is old and used and the edge isn't, like, it's been kind of gnawed off, you still can cut it really straight if you just kind of eyeball it. But I'm going to just take. Now notice how, like, if my hand bends, it's gonna bend this way. So if I'm cutting on this side, I could accidentally cut it in. So I'm cutting on the outside edge. My hand's on the pattern is on the outside edge of my hand. So if you look at my hand here, it's on the outside edge of my hand. So that if I accidentally turn it, it's gonna turn out instead of in. So when we get ready to mark the pillowcase, I'm going to show you what this looks like when it comes off. You can mark that line, and there are ways to mark that line. So you could actually take and unpin this and fold it back and then just mark it. But I'm going to show you a really easy way to do it. If you know the measurement, you see it says 2 inches from the top of the thing. This is not exactly 2 inches, but that mark would be fine. Take all the pins out. Now look at your print, because this is a directional print. So see, all the Star Warses are going the same way. So if I mark my casing line, then I'm gonna end up with a pillowcase that has upside down Star Wars. So I want to make sure that like my line is at the top of the pillowcase. Okay, so in the box there's several colors. I have yellow, red, white, and blue, and my pencils are the ones with the little orange things on them. So if you have an orange tip on it, that'll just remind you that you need to put it back in the box. And you can use whatever color will match your fabric best. You're gonna look at your fabric and you're gonna decide which color is gonna show up best on the fabric. And I'm actually gonna mark it onto the back, so you could even take and test to see, is blue gonna show up? Blue kind of shows up. I think red might show up better, so I think I'm gonna use red. Okay, so just pick a color that will work the best with the color fabric that you have. And then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure it for the pillowcase. It's a 2-inch measurement, whether it's the big or little pillowcase. On the little one, you could do 1.5 inches, but I just do a 2-inch measurement for the pillowcase. Or you could do 1.75 inches. It doesn't have to be exact, but you just need it straight. So I'm gonna line, so each one of these boxes are 1 inch, that's 1 inch, that's 1 inch. So that equals, boxes equal 2 inches. So then I'm just gonna put pressure on this so it doesn't shift while I'm drawing the line. And then I just take my pencil and okay. And then when I'm done, I'll have the line. Now I want you to notice the line is on the back of the fabric. If you look at these, you can see that it's right side up, so this is the top of the bag, and my red line is showing across the top of the bag.